Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of Sad Times. As you can tell, I've put on my Sad Times radio voice, so I hope everybody is feeling soothed. Before we get to our guest, a couple things. First, let's talk about what Sad Times is. Sad Times is a program on which I have a guest on every week, and we talk about times they were sad, upset, angry, emotional, how they dealt with that, how people who love them dealt with it, kind of where they put their emotions, because I think we tend to not talk about these things very much as a society, even though every single one of us goes through with it. So again, the goal is not here to, again, as if you've listened to this before, but the goal here is not to solve any of these problems or diagnose or anything like that. It's just to allow one person to tell their story while you at home perhaps feel some kinship with them. You feel a little less alone when you hear something that really strikes a chord with you that maybe you haven't even shared with anybody. So that's kind of the goal of the show. Of course, we wouldn't have a show without sponsors, and as always, our sponsor is Fuck Cigarettes. That's Fuck Cigarettes, which, as a reminder, everyone, if you say fuck cigarettes, it's okay, because if you say a brand name in America, there's nothing wrong with that. Fuck cigarettes. You've had a long day, just light up a fuck, I used to smoke cigarettes. I used to smoke 2 packs of cigarettes a day. That's 40 fucks a day, everyone. A lot of fucks. So thank you to Fuck Cigarettes. And also, because we are about to bring on our guest who is not in studio with us, that means we are on a Zoom, which means I have to stare at my face, which means I'm now offering, once again, if you have a business and you're competing with another business in your town and you would like to use my face to keep people away from that business, you can reach out to us here at Sad Times, and we'll put my picture on a billboard and just say that I'm the face of your competitor, and they'll stop going there and they'll start going to you. So pretty low rates this time of year, so let's look into it. Reach on out. All right, enough with the sponsor bullshit. So today, pretty excited. We are here with my friend Libby, who I haven't talked to in a long time. Libby, how's it going?
Hello, Kevin.
Hello.
It's going good.
All right. So we were just discussing, we knew each other before this, but we were in a show that our mutual good friend and friend of the show, as they say, directed in college. And I believe it opened right around 20 years ago today. Is that right?
That's what I think, man.
Yeah.
I think it ran the first through the third, but
that sounds right. And you played the female lead and the ingenue. Is that what they call that? Ingenue?
Yeah, it was actually just called The Girl.
That's right. Your character's name was The Girl. Great writing from the group theater, everyone.
Yeah.
And really, really a fun production that we put on ourselves. We did it on the main stage there at our prestigious university in the southern part of Illinois. I'm not going to say the name of it, but there. And that's where I learned the word nerds. You remember that word?
Yeah.
Nerds to that. So, but when did you start going to school down there, Libby? That was 2003. So how long had you been in school down there at that point?
I started in 2000.
All right, like me. All right, 2000.
Okay.
Were you a class of 2000 kid? High school?
No, actually, it took me a while to be able to go to college. I worked in a factory before.
Wow.
And I got braces, so I had my priorities straight,
Uh-huh. Wait,
you did? I got to get money for college.
Were you planning on majoring in theater when you were planning on going to school?
When I was working towards going to school, I think I was more of a science major.
Okay.
And then by the time I started going to college, I had switched over to theater, basically. Yeah.
What drew you to kind of try that out?
Well, I had always done like church productions and school productions, and was always drawn towards telling a story, being a part of other people trying to tell a story, put on a show.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think I had to work so hard to be able to go to college that I was just like, well, then I should go for my dream. And it was basically to work in storytelling, basically. So I found out that SIU had this great theater program, and I did like check it out. I went down, checked it out, and I just wanted to be a part of it.
Mm-hmm. So. That's awesome. So you must have checked it out, and because you did not meet Brent when you checked it out, you decided to come to school there, which, by the way, Brent has put on my glasses, which is really, really rude. Anyway, so you came down around 2000. We were in the show together in 2003. And then Police Stuff Near Far?
What was that?
Were you in Police Stuff Near Far, or am I making that up?
No, I don't know. I wasn't
okay.
in that.
I'm making that up. Scratch that. So we both left around the same time, around 2004-ish, I think is about right. Yeah. Well,
actually, it was actually right about this time last year, or not last year. It feels like last year, but in 2003 is whenever my life took a turn.
Gotcha. Okay.
It was,
which kind of led you on the path to kind of saying, I need to go to a different place.
Yeah.
Right.
I had to.
Yeah. Fair enough.
So I've had to start over a few times.
And go ahead. Sorry.
No. So, so I had left SIU in 2003. Mm-hmm. It was around April.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So all right. Right. Not long after the show closed. Okay. And you worked at a bar called Key West. I remember that. Good little bar. And then, so where did you go after you left school? Like, where did you move to?
I spent a little time in Marion, and so I haven't really ever talked about this. So,
okay. We don't have to talk about it, but you went down to Tennessee at some point shortly thereafter, right?
Yeah. So what happened was I was in an abusive relationship, and my best friend had to basically come scoop me up and save me. So she had an opportunity for me to start over down in Nashville, Tennessee. She was a part of a production company. She was working in a studio with many of the photographers in Nashville. So she was like, "There's opportunity here. Come down," and even waitressing, I could start over. So Nashville gave me my start again, actually several starts. And waitressed, I tried to get into whatever kind of entertainment industry that I could down there. There's commercials, there's theater down there.
Obviously, the music industry is all over the place down there.
There was some music videos that I got to be in. Some really cool stuff that I got to be a part of.
Were any of them by Hootie and the Blowfish?
No. Oh. I did an Alan Jackson.
Alan Jackson?
I got some days on that. I had to learn a dance. Several days. And I had to they're like, "Can you look different?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I can look different." And "Can you come back tomorrow?" "Yeah, I can come back."
Can you look different? That's what lots of girls have said to me. Kevin, could you look different?
I got 10 days on Hannah Montana down there, the movie, which is that was a dream come true.
If I were to watch that, could I find you in the movie? Like, could I see you?
Yeah, I can tell you. There's 10 places you can see me. You can have a scavenger hunt.
Now, you lived in Franklin, right? Outside of Nashville?
Yes. That is my favorite. You can take me to my happy place by just saying the word Franklin, Tennessee.
Well, I know that Miley Cyrus was Hannah Montana, right?
Yeah.
She was born in Franklin, and I think one of her many homes is still in Franklin.
It's still probably there, yeah. Her home is there. She would do a concert, on a Friday night in Franklin, Tennessee, whenever I lived there. We'd be walking around the park, and it'd be like, "What's going on?" "Oh, it's Miley."
Wow.
That girl is so grounded. And whenever I worked with her, she was 15 years old, and I mean, totally professional. It blew my mind watching her work on that set.
Wow, that's awesome. So once you got down there, you said you were waitressing, but you're in music videos, you're in a movie.
My first movie was produced by Quentin Tarantino.
What was that
Boom.
movie? Whoa.
It's called Daltrey Calhoun, and it was directed by Katrina Holder Bronson.
I don't know.
Which is Charles Bronson's daughter.
Okay, I was hoping it
really
had
amazing.
something to do with Charles Bronson.
Yeah. So it was her first movie, like a directorial debut, and he was helping her. And she got to shoot it in Columbia, Tennessee, I believe is where that shot.
Okay.
And I was bartending in Nashville, and, things were coming at me like people, because, you tell people your dreams when you're bartending and stuff, and everybody's like helping you get there too.
Right.
And people just kept telling me, go, this is happening around here. So I figured out, where the open casting call was.
Mm-hmm.
And drove to that and got in. I was seriously the last person that pulled up, and they had already closed the gates. And the casting director was like, "Okay, one more."
One more. That's awesome.
More. And she was like, "You might be the one." And I was like, "I hope so."
That's
why I'm here.
Can you say the name of the movie again?
Daltrey Calhoun. It's got Johnny Knoxville, Elizabeth Banks, Juliette Lewis. I mean, the first person I made eye contact with when I walked on set was Juliette Lewis. I was like, what is happening?
Was she nice?
I never got to interact with her.
You just made eye contact with her?
I just kept walking by. But I mean, wonderful. She was wonderful to work with. I was on set with her, but never got close enough to do any kind of interactions.
I have a question for you about being a bartender. You said that, hey, as a bartender, you start talking to people about your dreams. Is it a stereotype, or is it actually? Well, I guess stereotypes are stereotypes for cliches are cliches for a reason. Is it cliche to say that people will pour their heart out to their bartender, or does that happen? Will people be like, I'm sad about this, that, or the other thing? Did you run into that a lot as a bartender?
Yeah, I think so, because you develop connections. Mm-hmm. With people. I know it happened because I can't even remember how many years I was a bartender. I was a bartender even around here 10 years ago. I haven't had to do it for about 10 years.
Do you miss it?
No, it's bad for me. I do have an addictive personality, so.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
And boy, that's a tough industry to be in. I mean, you get off at 2 a.m. What am I going to do? I'm wide awake.
I don't drink anymore at all.
Okay.
I do microdose, which is legal mushrooms, and it's basically 2 drops of alcohol a day.
Oh wow!
So, and just minimal drops, and that's all I do. So I can't say I'm alcohol free, and I'm not I'm not going to use mouthwash because it's got alcohol in it.
Well, you just don't swallow it,
right? But I do microdose.
Okay.
And I'm a huge fan of nature. And
I do know you're a huge fan of nature. So when you say here, where is here? You're in Pennsylvania, right?
Yes, I am near Gettysburg, Pennsylvania.
Do you know the address there? Come on. Anybody? Brent, wake up.
The address?
Gettysburg address.
Oh, God. Why didn't I get that? Oh, my gosh.
Okay.
Brent would be really interested in the area that I'm from, because we have Site R here.
Site R. Oh, ghosts.
No, it's the underground Pentagon.
Underground Pentagon.
I thought she meant the ghosts of Gettysburg.
Is that
no?
a thing?
I thought you would be more into what is actually underneath me, which I think is the government.
I just Area 51 for you, everybody. If you have not listened to it, check it out.
Raven Rock Mountain.
Raven Rock. Okay.
Yeah, that's it. Just a little cross advertising there.
Yeah, there you go. How long have you been in the Gettysburg area?
12 years.
Wow.
Yes,
and what brought you there?
My husband. He's from this area.
Okay.
And we came here to set down some roots, and I have never felt more protected. I grew up in the Midwest, Southern Illinois. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure I don't know where you are from.
I'm from Central Illinois. I'm from near Champaign-Urbana.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So tornadoes.
Yes, real tornadoes.
Which we have them here too. But I feel so protected by the mountains.
Yeah, I mean, because tornadoes, they think they're all rough and tough, but then they run into a mountain and then they stop. Generally.
Exactly. Or they go the other way.
Although I am told that prayer can move mountains. And so if you ever want to just get that mountain out of the way for the tornado, if you want to face your fear, Libby,
I
go ahead
love
and
my
pray.
mountains. I love my mountains.
So you guys move out there, and you had said, you work in a factory, you're thinking about doing science, you go to school and you say, you know what, I worked my ass off to get here, I might as well go after my dream, and you decided to major in theater. You then left, you went down to the Nashville area, you were still doing, as you said, kind of versions of storytelling and things of that nature. Did you always find that, whether it be theater or being on a film set or music video set or what have you, that you felt that you were able to maybe that you were able to kind of work through some of the stuff that you were doing because you're creating something else?
Man, I felt like I could breathe.
Tell me more what do you mean by that?
Well, you've known me for so long, and I think any of our teachers that we had would tell you the thing that I've had the hardest trouble with my entire life is breathing. And everybody always tells me, you have to learn how to breathe. Like, I can just lose my breath really easily, and then my brain stops working.
Do you think
I have to tell myself, breathe,
Is that something that happens like when you're nervous?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
it gets worse.
Mm-hmm. When I have panic attacks, I stop the breathing. It becomes less than optimal.
Yes.
And you're still struggling with that today?
Yes, very much so.
Yeah. Okay. And so you felt like you're creating these things. It's like, wow, I can finally breathe. I can take a deep breath. I can be present in the moment, really.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. Mm-hmm. It's just like the life is the living and the living is the life. Like, just like the breakfast, the lunch, the supper, like just everything you do is just a part of what you're doing.
Part of what you're creating. And I think
even can I sleep for a couple hours just so I can get up and do it again,
That exciting.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about getting away from Brent. Yeah. So
but he put us here together.
He did. He did. Actually, fuck cigarettes did, if we're being honest. Now, what is your husband worked in film as well? Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we met in the MySpace days. If you remember those days.
I do. I remember them well.
I think.
What was your MySpace song on your page? Do you remember?
I used to change it, and then I remember having like a playlist. So
I had Fuck It Man was one of them. It's like I'm a one-trick pony here. But you remember that? For anybody who doesn't know what MySpace is.
My memory goes, I'm sorry.
That's okay. MySpace was after Friendster, which don't even get me started on Friendster.
I didn't get on that.
But before Facebook, or at least before Facebook was for people outside of universities. And anytime you went to somebody's page, if they wanted to, the moment you got to their page, a song would play.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like an original song, and I don't recall ever having to pay any money, but you could just play whatever. And then everybody was friends with Tom. And then that went away. But so did you meet him on MySpace or
we did.
Okay.
He was like messaging me. Like, I would always try to put videos or I was always trying to create something. Mm-hmm. And I think somebody's friend must have been somebody's friend. And then we ended up being friends, and he would like message me and be like, oh, that's cool. And how did you do that? And I was just like, I don't even remember how I put some things together now these days, how I got things from tape onto a digital format, onto a computer, but somehow I was able to do it.
When you say videos, do you mean like short films?
Yeah, just like little projects, just trying to make something. Even sometimes it was just trying to learn how to capture something in those days. But yeah, he noticed it, and then he was like, hey, I want to send you some of the stuff that I've been in. At first I was leery because I have been targeted, sort of hunted on computers before. So it's like, I didn't know whether to trust him or not, but I did anyway. And so I met him, and he had made a couple of movies with his friends. And he sent me these movies, and I was like, wow, like this is just a group of friends getting together for a week, and this is like they're turning out a story, you know. It just blew my mind. I probably watched this movie called Promenade 100 times before I even met him because I loved it so much. The music, they didn't have the rights to the music though, so it'll never get sold or anything. But I was just like the music, the way they cut it together, the story, I just loved it. And then we all just decided to get together. Like me and him met, and we like dated over a summer, and then we all decided to get together in the fall of that year. I think it was 2007, and we made Brain Rat right here, which is recently available on Tubi.
Brain Rap available on Tubi. That's Tubi, right?
Yeah,
and that's free for everybody, isn't it?
Yeah, it's so cool.
And we're gonna definitely
like
put
an app.
The names of the movies and where they can find it in the show notes.
So that movie really never saw the light of day.
Until now.
Yeah.
But this is okay. So hold on. Let me back up for a second. Your husband was making movies with his friends. And when you say movies, you mean like full length movies.
Yeah.
Pictures, motion pictures, right?
Yeah.
And so he sent you stuff online like, hey, this is stuff I'm working on. And one of those was, I think you said Promenade. And so you watched it a bunch of times. And it sounds like you were really taken in not only by the idea that somebody could make this, but the story, and then all the, individual parts of filmmaking. Because you said the story, the way it was shot, how it was cut, all of those things. And people at home can't see, but like you actually got like a look on your face, like you were, and I'm not joking, like you were looking at it like a baby. You're like a pride look.
They're my babies.
Right. So what did your husband do on those movies?
He's a cinematographer.
Okay.
We do edit together. So he's everything. He's an editor. Sound man. We do catering. You name it.
So, okay, well, yeah, actors have to eat.
We do.
So you went out there and you were probably looking for something to really immerse yourself in.
Yeah.
And so Brain Rap was the first one that you guys did together? Mm-hmm. Now, I haven't seen this. Is it a horror movie?
It's a dark comedy.
It's a dark comedy. Okay. Mm-hmm. And you were just in that, right? You were just an actor in it?
That's it. That's all I did.
Okay. Which, by the way, for anybody who, and look, I've never been on any major motion picture or anything like that, but anybody who's tried to make a movie, what movie making is a lot of sitting around. Like a lot. At least in my estimation. But you watched your husband, and then who directed that film?
John Taylor.
John Taylor, the writer, also directed
my movies. Yeah, and he also wrote the movies that I directed, Dead Woman's Hollow and Darkness Waits.
Which I remember when I talked to you, you said that you were in this movie, and as we just established, like starting to feel like you could breathe. You're making this movie. You're part of something larger, storytelling. You're and again, you're around the mountains out there. Yeah. You're starting to feel a little more at home, as it were. And you kind of had the idea, like, I'd like to try to direct one of these, right?
That's exactly it. We moved out here with an opportunity, but the opportunity fell through, and it was really hard for us. And so that how we thought our lives were going to go, they just didn't go. And so all of a sudden I was looking around and I was like, man, starting over again. What do I do? And I'm like, I'm going to do my freaking dream. And no matter what it takes, like if I'm going to be waitressing as a 34-year-old woman, I'm going to be making a movie and waitressing at the same time. Mm-hmm. And that's what I was doing. And we would go to the mountains and we would try to figure out how we were going to shoot this, what we were going to shoot. John wrote the story. He knew where we were at. He knew what we had to work with around here. I think he knew what we could do. Mm-hmm. He doesn't know a whole lot about my personal life either. But when he wrote the script, I latched onto it.
Why? Sorry, why is that?
Some of the themes that are in it, they gave me a way to work on some stuff that I needed to work on just by studying the script and
can I ask you something? Character development. So I want to ask you about that. So you found some things that really resonated with your past experiences. And when you say something to work on, like how did that help you work on it? It was like to create something out of the pain that you'd had before? Is that
something beautiful that I could look at.
Okay. And it was really about the go ahead.
It didn't hurt anymore. It didn't hurt like a hurt anymore. It didn't hurt like it hurt. It felt beautiful.
And that was just after you'd read the script and you're like, I'm going to make this movie and I'm going to take all of this stuff that I've dealt with before and I'm going to put it in the movie. And now it's not that stuff in the past. Now it's something beautiful that I'm making. Is that kind of what you're saying?
Yeah. And it's right now. It was right in the then and now. And the then and then. And
it helped keep you out of the past, as it were.
Yeah. And it helped me grow because it was just constantly like learning how to work with people, learning how to just do new things.
Were you scared to death to do that?
Oh yeah, I am full of fear.
Full of fear. How did you at least embrace it, if not overcome it, to make the movie? You just said, fuck it, I'm going to do it?
That's what I have to say every morning.
So you kind of go through that every day, right? Yeah. It's like, I'm going to get through today.
Here we go.
Yeah, I know that. I have to call this lyric out. I love it very much. There's a Bob Dylan lyric. It says, I know it looks like I'm moving, but I'm standing still. So often people are like, how you doing, Kevin? You seem to be doing well. I'm like, well, I know it looks like I'm moving, but I'm standing still. I'm just right here frozen with fear.
Doing it, man.
But if you spend, at least somebody like you and I think, if you spend even just a part of your day creating something new, it is almost like a get out of jail free card, I guess you could say. You know? So you think, all right, I'm going to direct this movie. You get the script. How long do you think it's going to take?
2 weeks.
2 weeks to shoot it?
I thought I could do it in 2 weeks.
You think you could shoot the movie in 2 weeks? What are you, Roger Corman?
I thought I could do it in 2 weeks. I thought if everybody got together and I had the cameraman and I had sound, it would work out.
And how long did it take to shoot?
A year and a half.
Wow. So that is, let's see here, that's 50, that's 78 weeks.
Yeah, that's just to shoot it too. I thought I could do the whole, people do those 48-hour film festivals.
What is, you mean they make something,
and
then they edit it in 48 hours?
Yeah, they have 48-hour film festivals. I can't do them.
How?
I don't think I could do them.
No, that's a lot. Plus, I need my sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you go in, you're starting to shoot it. As you said, even today, every day you wake up and it's like, all right, I'm going to do it. I'm afraid, but I'm going to do it. How often were you kind of coming up against a wall where you're like, I don't think I can do this anymore?
Man, there was a lot. I would say right after the 2-week mark, right after the first shoot. Mm-hmm. After the first shoot, you're kind of like, oh man, how am I going to get this together? And I remember just crossing off pages in the script, like, okay, I got that shot. I can do something. And this is me not at a point, we did not have the technology at that point to just stop and edit. We had to get computer, that had to be like the next thing down the road. Mm-hmm. Like we'll get a computer to do the editing, to do the thing down the road. So,
and as a director, I imagine anytime like a meaningful decision needs to be made, everybody just kind of turns and looks at you. Is that kind of how it goes?
I had a very small group of people for my first movie, but yeah.
Did that give you maybe a form of self-confidence that you'd never really had before?
Yeah, definitely.
Have you ever
when I knew it can tear you down too when you don't, because a lot of times as an independent filmmaker, I've just gotten something together the best I can. And it's not always exactly what I wanted. It's just what I could do. I don't have the time that I wanted. I didn't have, I don't have the takes that I wanted. All kinds of things. I think there's actually, in Dead Woman's Hollow, there's actual footage missing. Like missing footage. Like we don't know what happened to that. We can't find it. Things like that.
You mean stuff that you thought was in the movie that's not there?
Like things we thought we shot.
I see.
That you can't find it later. When you get to the editing part.
Have you ever heard of a psychiatric term called exposure therapy?
No.
Okay,
sounds intriguing though.
Oh, it's horrifying. As somebody with obsessive compulsive disorder, as I have, exposure therapy would be like this. An example. This is look, I'm not a doctor, neither is my sister. A very basic version of this is, let's say I obsessed over and was afraid of spiders. I think it would start by one spider in a cage across the room from me. And then slowly they start exposing you to your fears more and more. So it's like really overwhelming. And then you learn you have to face your fear, blah, blah, blah. I probably butchered exactly, what it is and what it's trying to do. But it sounds like to me, when you are being as vulnerable as you were with that film, with the themes that really struck home for you, it seems like it was something like, well, I'm either going to do it or I'm not. And some days you're, as you said, totally defeated. What got you up to do it again the next day?
I think getting it done, to actually have something completed, because when I've completed both of my movies, it has just kind of been like, oh, finally, like I finally have it and it's there.
What's that feel like?
Amazing. There's still a lot of work though with like trying to get it out there. That's hard. Like just get the word out and everything. But yeah.
So I watched Dead Woman's Hollow the other evening. You have a great couple lines in that movie about line 2. And I think you're going to want to take this call. Then you have this great, your eye looks to the guy.
Thank you.
Yes, that was good stuff.
Choices.
Yes. How often between takes, were you talking to the actors and trying to, did you ever bring them in on any of the personal stuff that you were trying to work through to help for them to understand what you wanted out of them?
Yeah.
Was that scary?
Yeah, really scary. And, and knowing more now, like I know that like I think it's 1 in 4 women have been abused. Wow. I think it's way more than that. I think that, but anyway, so Mel, who plays Jen in my movie, who we touch on that subject with, we had a conversation and it was really hard for me to walk that walk with her. She drove like an hour and a half to be on my set whenever she had to be there. So oftentimes she would come down and like spend the night with one of the other girls, the other girl, Sarah Snyder, who was Jen in the movie, or I'm sorry, Donna.
Donna, the other main.
Yeah.
There are 2 girls who go camping, basically.
Yeah. So I have a conversation with Mel about, do you have a personal connection with an abused woman? And she just looked me in the eye and said, I've got this. And I never had to really say another word to her because me and her just looking in each other's eyes said it for me. And then come to fight, like what happens in 2017 to her mother. Her mother was actually shot by her stepdad. And so she had actually lived a life of...
In the woman who played Jen, and I apologize, can you remind me of her name again?
Mel Heflin.
She lost her mother to domestic violence.
Domestic abuse, yeah. And she actually gets shot in the head in my movie. So she can never watch this again. She'll never do another part like this again. But we shot this in 2010. And a little bit in 2011. But mainly in 2010 with her, 2010 and 2011. So, she had seen it so many times and she lived it with her mom, and her mom tried to get away so many times. And
I think Sorry,
Yeah.
go ahead.
We just had to look at each other and we knew. And she played it and she gave a beautiful performance whenever she actually has to expose herself. And
Right.
I cried the first time I saw that. I mean, and then even just with then you could go and put music on top of it. Yeah, it just it gave that story, it gave that exposure moments. It just made it beautiful for me. So.
Yeah, and I went when you and I talked. You told me about the movie, and I didn't know about that element of the plot. I knew it was just based on a true story about some people who went hiking in the Appalachian Trail, correct? Mm-hmm. And so I was like, okay, cool. I'm going to watch this movie. Maybe it'll be a thriller. I don't, and then I even texted you. I was like, is this a thriller or horror? You're like, more of a thriller. I said, okay. So I started watching it, and then it slowly starts to show, okay, this is not just about two women who go and then they meet this guy who looks exactly like the guy who used to be the maintenance guy at an apartment I lived at, like down to the jacket and the hat and the beard, like exactly. It becomes clear, and as the movie goes on, more and more that they're focusing on that. Sorry, go ahead.
I said Leroy.
And, you said something a minute ago, and I think it's something I know a lot of people don't understand, and I don't presume to speak for anybody, but you said that, her mom had tried to get away, but wasn't able to. Yeah. I want you to correct me if I say anything wrong here. I think it is a misconception that people who are in abusive relationships can just pick up and leave most of the time, right?
Yeah.
It's just not that simple.
Yep.
And I think for anybody who is listening, I did, and I'm going to put this in the show notes. There is a National Domestic Violence Hotline, which is 800-799-7233. That's 800-799-7233. So again, we'll put that in the show notes. But the fact that you even said 1 in 4 women go through this, and that's you think it's probably even more than that.
Yeah, I mean, if you haven't been through it, you've seen somebody go through it, or you've helped somebody somehow, some way, even if it's just listen.
Right.
I think everybody knows somebody. I mean, well, yeah.
Did you feel as you were, you're shooting the movie and then you're going back, takes a year and a half to shoot. I think you said took about another year and a half to edit and post-production and all that stuff, right?
To actually get it on DVD. We showed it once in 2012. And then I think it was 13 before we put it on DVD, before we finally got like a file to put on DVD. Kevin Yost does our music. He wanted to work on the music again after we showed it one time. Mm-hmm. He basically mixed it live while we showed it in 12. And he was like, I want to work on it one more time. And so we went back and did the editing room. I did get some feedback too when I showed it, and so we crafted a few things as best we could. And then Kevin worked on the music again, and we were able to get that file. And I showed it at a film festival, like 4 film festivals. But my very first film festival led to the next film festival, led to the next film festival, led to the next film festival, where I got distribution for my first film, which doesn't hardly ever happen.
Yeah. Wow.
And it was amazing. And I loved every second of it. And it was kind of like a dream come true. Now, the distribution, in hindsight, the distribution agreement didn't change my life or anything. If anything, it was really hard to get through that 5 years. But when we got our movie back, then this kind of streaming platform thing has taken a new life. That wasn't around in like 13, 14, and 15. Mm-hmm. It really hasn't. We've been learning it basically since the pandemic. And that's how we've been able to get all 3 of our movies out to streaming, which has been incredible for us, life-changing.
So, you say that life-changing, you had a licensing agreement, and that is something that's pretty rare. But, multiple times you said, I'm going to follow my dream. And your dream is to create something, to create art, to share art. Unfortunately, in this country, for the most part, unless you're really, 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 really lucky, you can't, it's hard to make a living by art. Mm-hmm. And did that ever really get you down, frustrate you, depress you?
Oh yeah, that is the darkness, I think.
Yeah.
That makes you feel like you're spinning your wheels.
So like, you're like, I should be creating something, but because there is not a quote unquote market for it, I have to do something that I don't believe in.
Yeah.
Is that kind of what you mean?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I was kind of raised that way too. Got to pay the rent.
Got to pay the rent. Sure. Got to have a roof over your head, which of course, but at the same time,
yeah. Or you got to have something. I got to have a safe space, and I have learned that, and I work every day for it.
So, as you're going to these film festivals, were you scared to be? I mean, for film festivals, you get licensing. Were you scared to be Wait, did I say that wrong? Distribution? What did I say wrong?
You said licensing.
Okay, licensing. Okay.
Yeah.
Were you scared to be successful?
Oh yeah.
Why?
Because I don't think I'm safe enough yet. I don't think I'm safe enough. Scared to be known, scared to, like, the more I put myself out there, the more I'm like, oh, I want to shut back down. Mm-hmm. Because I just don't feel safe yet. Like, my whole life is just, how can I put, like, I just need a little bit of space.
Yeah. But yet you're making these extremely personal films. And so it shows that while you may have been scared to be successful, you are a lot stronger than maybe you thought you were, or is that not right?
My movies make me feel strong.
Yeah. I guess what I'm trying to say is, of course you're strong, but maybe when you went into the experience, you had maybe second thoughts, you're afraid, everybody's looking to you, and then you come out on the other side and you're like, holy shit, I did that.
I'm really proud.
You should be.
I am really proud.
Yeah, because I was briefly a film major in school, and that shit is hard. There's so much shit going on all at once. And also, nobody's ever explained to me why they say speed, why the sound person says speed.
Yeah, we're not that. We're more guerrilla. We're definitely more guerrilla. Mm-hmm. I get to say action.
Hey!
But, I think that's just because everybody lets me have that.
Sure, yeah.
You really don't have
Do you get to say cut?
Yeah, I can.
Woo, exciting.
But a lot of people just go ahead and break whenever they want to break. Like, that's it. That's what or we run out of time and we get kicked off a location. Like, we got to go.
Yeah, got to go. Yeah, guerrilla, I like that. And you, so you get licensing, and were you terrified again? Because again, this is exposing you in a way that maybe you weren't comfortable with?
Yeah, but super excited at the same time.
And so you keep mentioning a third movie, which I have not watched. Did you then immediately go into pre-production, or kind of, how did that work out for you?
We had the script. I think we had the script in 2014 for Darkness Waits, and we called it It's Happening Again. And then David Lynch came out with something that was called It's Happening Again. I didn't want everybody to think that I was copying off him. We were probably, my husband and the writer John Taylor are very huge David Lynch fans. I am too. Mm-hmm. But they were the people that exposed me to David Lynch. Basically, recognize him.
David Lynch is fucking brilliant.
Yeah. So they're heavily inspired by him, and I hope you can see that.
I could see that in Dead Woman's Hollow for sure.
Good. But yeah, so Darkness Waits was called It's Happening Again, and then we changed it, and then we kind of just kept it a secret for a while.
Did you change it first to Twin Peaks?
We should have.
Yeah, you should have. No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
But we started shooting in 2015, and I thought that I could get it done in a summer. I thought I'll devote a week of production. and I'll have a 10 or more than a week. I had a 10-day production schedule.
Like a shooting schedule.
Mm-hmm. And I worked really hard on that. And I did stick to it. It just took me 5 years. But I did think I could get it done in 10 days in a summer.
And how long did it actually? I know you said 5 years. How long did it take you to shoot it?
Because at this time we were able to edit and we were able to shoot, and then we stopped and we did some editing, and then we would shoot and we would stop and do editing. So I even shot something in 2019 after I showed it, after the premiere. I had another idea. And so we shot one more scene and then we put it in the DVD. So
okay.
Even when I thought it was done, it wasn't done yet. So.
But you said earlier, like, this is a type of thing where you sleep a couple hours and you can't wait to get up and do it again. Even if you're trudging through it for 5 years, that had to be life affirming and just, so kind of, was it like most days? It was like, I'm so excited and happy I get to be doing this.
Yeah. Or I would be looking forward to the time period where I could get it going again. Because I would be working I've got to get this. The next thing I have to get done is this. Mm-hmm. The next thing I have to get shot is this. The next location I have to get is this. Check it off the list.
What was different for you on this film as opposed to Dead Woman's Hollow? Or was it just as challenging, just as scary?
It was just as challenging, but I was able to adapt it a little bit more. Like with Dead Woman's Hollow, I just stuck to the script the best that I was like, I know that if I can shoot John's words, that I can make a picture. Like I thought, worst case scenario, say I'm not creative. And I'm not a special ingredient, like, or something, like, it doesn't matter that it's me. Worst case scenario, I shoot every word of this script. Some people are gonna think it's cool or something, like watch it, or I just knew it was going to be good. And, but then on Darkness Waits, I was like, when I would go to the script, I would be like, okay, I don't think I could do that, but what I can do is this. And I'd like switch it or adapt it or just kind of make it my own. And John really gives me any kind of freedom. I mean, I don't really have to go to him and be like, do you care if I don't have this? He's like, whatever you can make it, do it.
True collaboration.
Yeah. So I had a little more of that, a little more freedom.
Is there a place where people can watch Darkness Waits?
Yeah, Tubi, Roku.
Tubi is what? Roku?
Yeah,
okay.
Amazon. It's available on several platforms, but for an independent filmmaker, Tubi is for me right now, Tubi is the best. And Roku.
Okay. And you said something to me a couple weeks ago that I thought was which really rang true, I guess I should say, is everything you do comes from everything you did. And that we put when we're creating something, or maybe when you're creating something for sure, you put your whole life into that creation and how that creation can illuminate new worlds. What did you mean by that?
Oh, I guess, I don't know, just the words themselves. It's just, people always say, would you change anything if you could go back, or would you tell your younger self, something, give them a message, things like that. I don't think I would change anything about my life, because I would be afraid that I wouldn't be right where I am now, because I'm really content with the place that I am. I mean, I'm working towards other things for sure, but it's just, it makes you who you are. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah. And I think you said something simple but profound as well, where you said movies are my voice.
Yes. I have a hard time finding words, even just right then. Sometimes people ask me a question and I feel like I can't think of the right thing to say. But my movies have given me a place, I think, where I can say something. I can use my voice. I can tell my story, or I can let other people do it. And get to find the happiness from that.
Mm-hmm.
And watch, and even, I think it's an even more profound happiness for me whenever I get to see other people making their dreams come true, because my movies are not just my dream. They're like everybody that I worked with, they're their dreams too. My lead actresses, my, just the storytellers, the people that carry you through, the characters that I get to be a part of the collaboration.
Mm-hmm.
When I get to see what they bring and just be in the same space with them. It's my dream come true.
A lot of people talk about dreams. Roy Orbison sings about dreams in Dreams, which was lip synced by Dean Stockwell in Blue Velvet, because that movie rules. And it's so wonderful to hear people say, hey, my dream is actually coming true, because I don't think that happens a lot. Well, maybe it does, and we just don't talk about it. I don't know. But another thing it seems like that really came into focus for you when you were out there too, as you mentioned earlier, is nature. And obviously in Dead Woman's Hollow, I mean, it takes place on the Appalachian Trail, but there's a lot of lovely shots of nature, and, a lot of both wide and in-close shots of nature. And do you spend a lot of time in nature?
Every second that I can. Yeah. I love the earth. I love walking in the woods. I love mushroom hunting, and I love to try to identify species. And I love to try to find something new, especially with mushrooms, because you can find some rare and amazing things that you might not find again for years. And that's happened to me.
You're just walking around in the woods and you're looking just for mushrooms. And you can identify new species?
It takes me some time, but new to me.
Well, sure. Yeah. Right.
But there's so much out there. So
how does being in nature help your trauma, your sadness, your mental health that you deal with on a daily basis?
What was the question?
How does being in nature help you? Like films, we talk about how making a film helps you. How does being in nature help you with the struggles that you have day in and day out with the trauma you've experienced, or the sadness or depression that you may be going through?
I think it grounds me, because I'm finding out maybe that I don't know if I'm finding out that I'm a part of something, but I'm finding out that there's just beauty. Mm-hmm. I think mushrooms are beautiful. I've seen some beautiful things. And when you see them and you've never seen them before, it's like, what is that? And then you get closer to it. I often take pictures of them, and I try to just kind of see how they're growing, where they're growing, what they're growing from. Sometimes I try to see how long they last. There are some mushrooms that are really, really hard, and they can be there for 20, 30 years. There's mushrooms that are hundreds of years old. I think that there's mushrooms that are thousands of years old, but I don't know.
It's almost like there's a mushroom kingdom.
We can get into that.
No. That's just my Super Mario joke. So that kind of puts things in perspective, though, right? You tell me that, hey, there are mushrooms that are hundreds of years old, and I turned 40 in 2022, and I spent 4 months hyperventilating about it, right? And it's like, wow, yeah, great, Kevin. Well, there's mushrooms that are like 180 years old. And there are these trees that maybe you walk by every day that are, I don't know, thousands of years old, perhaps. So what have you seen in the time that you've been up there? Has it changed the nature?
Yeah, a lot of the trees that I used in Dead Woman's Hollow are gone. I watched them fall.
Like for logging or?
Well, there hasn't been, the logging hasn't reached the areas that I walk logging hasn't touched it, but a tornado has touched down twice in the same area.
Gotcha.
And sometimes I'm like, is it the universe saying that I've done something wrong? But I don't know. But we also have a bug that's getting the hemlocks.
The bug is like killing?
Mm-hmm.
Is there, or is it just terrible? If you were to use the pesticide on those bugs, would that be just worse for the environment?
Yeah, I mean, I'm scared of it because I think that they would spray us.
Mm-hmm.
So,
do you?
But I don't know. I hope Mother Nature can come back, but I'm seeing so many of them go down.
And I think you said that
there's
a tree species that you really love that
that's it.
Might be gone. That's okay. I'm sorry. Yes, gotcha. All right.
It's the hemlock tree. It's my favorite tree.
Hemlock tree.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Socrates hated that tree.
No, that's the plant, and he didn't hate it.
No, I was joking. He was like, all right, you guys are gonna make me fucking drink this, whatever. Let me say this cool shit. All right, I'm dead.
And that's everywhere. I see that growing next to the elementary school.
Hemlock, the plant.
Yeah.
See, this is amazing to me.
Wild.
This is quite literally, there's a whole world out there that I pay. Speaking for myself, I pay zero attention to. I'm too busy watching like WWE pay-per-views in order, or reading books when I could be out among that. And it's interesting how we, as people who struggle with depression or anxiety or what have you, we find simple ways of escape, like say taking a walk, or reading a book, or something much more complicated like making a full-length motion picture. And it's all about doing that and trying to continue to grow as a person, and watching, it sounds like to me, at least in your experience where you live, also watching the earth grow around you and let that inform the way that you look at life. Is that a fair way to say it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it helps me live. And like, we would be out there just trying to figure out where we were going to shoot something, oftentimes just a walk in the woods. And a walk in the woods to me is like sunshine, and it's good exercise, and I learn things. Often it's, it's silence for me. There's not a lot that like world-wise where you have to pay attention to. Like, I feel like I always have to pay attention to everything that's going on around me, like 360 degrees.
Yeah.
So going out but I do that in nature too, but it's just more calming for me, because I also learn there's a time in the season where I'll get off trail, and I don't go off trail very much in the summertime because for me, it's snakes. And I know, I just want to respect. It's their land. Mm-hmm. It's their time. It's not my time. And if I want to explore, I'll explore in the wintertime, whenever they've gone to sleep.
Right.
And so that's when I'll go off trail a little bit. But
look, I respect snakes too. I just don't ever want to ever see one or come across one.
Well, they're beautiful. But yeah, I definitely want my space between them. I did almost step on a rattlesnake, which I did get about 2 feet away from it. And all of a sudden I saw it, and I just turned to my husband and said, "It's the thing. It's the thing that makes the sound." Like, I'm screaming that, of course. Like, I didn't do it as dramatically as what I would do it.
But
if you
is this kind of what you're talking about, where sometimes you lose words?
Yes.
Yeah.
So you see a rattlesnake, and he hasn't seen it yet. And I know I can see things better than he can sometimes in real life. He sees things better on camera than I do. But I see things in real life sometimes faster than he does. So I saw this rattlesnake. I could not think of what it was. All I could just be like, it's the thing. It's the thing that makes the sound. Yeah, it's charades. It's deadly charades.
I usually try at the end of episodes to kind of say to people, is there anything else that you didn't relate or say, not even about your story, but just what you'd like to share with people, maybe about coming from where you were kind of at a really hard place in your life, and now you're living your dream. Is there anything else that you want to share with people who may be listening to this?
I just want to tell you, if you are in a dark place, to look for your light. And sometimes it's the light that's in you. I made movies to help myself, to give myself an outlet. And I do hope that people check them out and, see what I was able to do. Breathe. Definitely. Just remember to breathe. And I hope you can find a safe space. And that's my one wish for everybody, is that they feel safe enough. It's really hard to get creative when you don't feel safe. I mean, I've definitely been feeling that. I hope that for anybody can find that. Even painting for me, sometimes I'll just get a canvas and try to get a picture out of my head. Mm-hmm. Just do whatever you can to make something.
I love that. I mean, I think that really resonates with kind of where I am in my life and what I've always kind of tried to do. I think it should be said and called out that you have kind of done something that a lot of people maybe struggle to do, and you've succeeded with flying colors. You've taken something that you're afraid of and you said, fuck it, and you did it anyway. And you were vulnerable, and you were able to create and be vulnerable because you were in a safe space. But it starts with you and finding, like you said, finding the light within you. And I think that's a really beautiful sentiment, to end on. So thank you for sharing that. And let me just say the names again. Is it Brainwave?
No, Brain Wrap.
Brain Wrap. Fuck. Sorry.
That's okay. Yeah, that's all right.
Why don't you...
It's tricky.
Brain Wrap, Dead Woman's Hollow, Darkness Waits.
You got it.
And they can find them on Tubi. Would be Tubi or Amazon.
Tubi or Tubi or Tubi.
Tubi or Tubi or Tubi. Got it.
And also Roku. People are familiar with that. It's on a lot of smart TVs. Mm-hmm. Tubi is actually something you can get on your phone now. It's just an app. And so anybody who has a smartphone can get this app, and you can watch free content. It's great. So,
and that's Tubi.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Roku's similar. It comes on a lot of the smart TVs. You'd be able to click on it there for free. Amazon is kind of like I believe they're all available on Amazon too.
I know Dead Woman's Hollow is.
Yeah, and Darkness Waits. I'm not sure about Brain Wrap, but I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, and they're kind of back and forth whether or not it's free or they charge. I do have distribution. It's through Film Hub, which I love. So they're the platform that has been able to get my movies on several platforms, streaming networks. So,
well, definitely. I hope that everybody can check them out. I'm going to try to catch the other two as well. Brain Wrap.
Yep. Dead
Woman's Hollow, Darkness Waits. And the first one you are an actor in, and the second two you directed.
I do have a part in the second one too. Darkness Waits.
Oh, in Darkness Waits, you mean?
Yeah, mm-hmm. Darkness Waits. Some of the characters come back. You'll see that when you watch it.
Oh, really?
I'm putting it to the universe when you watch it. Yeah.
Oh, I plan on watching it for sure.
And then maybe I can come back and we can talk about that sometime.
Okay, we can do that. All right, Libby. Well, I really, really appreciate you coming on. I know that,
Oh, it's been so good to hear your voice and be in a space with you. You are super talented. You always have been.
Brent's shaking his head no, and yeah. I tend to believe Brent on this one. No, thank you very much. That's very kind of you to say. Really kind of you to say.
I remember you being in a movie. I remember being at a party with you. And somebody showed a movie that you did.
Oh, the one about the original documentary
Yes.
about my OCD?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was wonderful. I loved it. It was so real. And
Oh, it was real, all right. Yeah, my friend, real fast, a friend of mine who was in film school was like, we're doing talking to people about their nervous habits. And he filmed me for a long fucking time. And he goes, all right, well, it's not going to be about a bunch of people. It's going to be about you. It used to be on YouTube. It's called 4816, I think. I don't know. Anyway, enough about that.
Yeah.
Thank you. And thank you so much for coming on. I know that some of these things are not easy for you to talk about. So taking the time to talk about that and sharing your story and being kind and generous, really, really appreciate it.
thank you for providing the safe space
You're
for
welcome.
me to feel that.
You're welcome. And we kept it safe by keeping Brent out of the shop. But thank you so much. And, I always like to try to end the show just by kind of saying, I try to remind myself every day that there's always room for kindness and grace, even when it has to do with yourself. And I forget that every day. There's always room for kindness and grace, and there's always room to breathe. Libby, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for listening. We'll see you next time on Sad Times.
You've been listening to a Fourth Hand Joint.